Hey everybody, welcome to Bourbon and Branding. I'm Jason. This is
Dave.
Dave. Thank you guys for joining us again. Tonight we are drinking Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond. Very excited. It will be our first crack. Neither of us have had this one yet.
It is true. You've not tasted heaven.
We have not tasted heaven or Heaven's Hill. I don't know how you would say that, but anyway, yeah. Let us know if you have in the comments. But we're gonna try it out right now. Let's dive in.
Wait. Can I open it?
Yeah, you can open it.
Wait, no, it's your bottle.
No, it's cool. I don't know. It's all right.
Because
Change it up.
yeah, because the way I see it, you always announce my name, so
It's true.
I'm gonna open the bottle.
Do it. Gotta pour me first, though. I think that's.
That's the gentleman's thing to do.
So yeah, I got this bottle. It's actually been sitting on the shelf for a while. We don't get Heaven Hill very often here in Oregon or in our neck of the woods. And I saw it, bought a bottle, and I have a friend who bought a bottle and swears by it, loves it, thinks it's, I mean, he's like, yeah, I just buy it, every bottle I see, and I enjoy it. So
He swears by heaven.
he swears by it. So I don't know. We're gonna give it a shot and see if he's right or if we agree with him, I guess.
Okay.
As always, do some facts. And then,
facts are good.
Facts are good, and then we can get down. Well, I'll let you here.
Cheers.
Cheers. Perfect.
I did spill a little bit.
I see that.
That
I
is
know.
a
I think
gentleman.
this is like the last time you get to pour because there's quite a bit on the table there.
Hey.
So this is Heaven Hill Bottled in Bond. If you don't know what Bottled in Bond is, basically it's the government's way of telling you that it's not poison. There's a handful of different requirements that it has to be made, but basically in 1897 and prior to that, people were, bootlegging.
You can put anything you want in there.
Yeah, and so they came up with a way. No, this is the problem. This is what happens when you get government involved, right? It's
like mattresses.
I'm not following.
Well, if you look on... Okay, this is really weird. No, the same thing, government involved, right? Have you ever looked on your mattress and it says, do not remove under penalty of law?
Right.
Well, I looked that up because I was like, I accidentally tore the tag off the mattress.
Everybody does.
And I was like, holy crap, they're going to come get us. And like Davison, my son, he saw it and he's like, Dad, I think we might have broken the law.
Oh, that's so funny. How did they, what is the penalty? It
was allegedly...
You get no more mattresses?
Well, back in the day, it's the same kind of thing. Like, people would stuff their mattresses with, dirt and straw and weird stuff, and no one had there was no standard. So they said, if you... these are standardized, and if you take this tag off, it's not been standardized, so...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never...
Sorry.
Since you mentioned it, I was like, okay, I've seen that tag, but I don't think I've ever looked it up or thought through it. What? Why? But okay, I guess if you're stuffing it full of dirt or random things.
Well, there you go, guys. Put in the comments below how many things the government has been involved in.
Right, there you go. Yeah, the
86
random, the random things that the government is involved in. So anyway, so it's the Bottled in Bond. So it has to be 100 proof, so 50% alcohol. Has to be a minimum of 4 years. This is 7 years. Heaven Hill was established in 1935. They came out with the Bottled in Bond in 1939. I mean, there's all sorts of facts that we can go over, but It says the aroma has vanilla, honey, and caramel. I don't know. How do you guys say it? Do you say caramel or caramel?
The proper British way.
It's caramel? Do you say caramel?
No.
I'm caramel. I would say caramel. And then caramel, vanilla, spice, and a hint of oak on the nose is what it says here. Let's see here.
I do get the vanilla.
Are you getting the vanilla?
I really do get the vanilla on this, and a lot of vanilla on the nose.
All right, that's probably all. I don't know. That's good.
No one
get
needs these
to
facts.
the tasting here.
You know, because I wanted to talk a little bit about their packaging and the presentation and kind of the overall brand experience. You went on their website as you often do, because you've seen the very bottom of the totem pole. So you think to yourself, it can't be.
Well, so I feel like a website tells you all you need to know about a company and their branding strategy and the care they put into. Because if the website is awful, I'm gonna be super skeptical. Like, it doesn't mean that the product isn't good. It doesn't mean that they don't actually succeed in delivering a good product. But I'm skeptical right out of the gate because it just tells me, do you take time in all of the facets of your branding, right? Like, or are you, and so if you do, I go, okay, like you take care of your website, you take care of your bottling, your branding, and then ultimately what goes into the bottle. So, I'm kind of like I don't know, the whole package has to meet the status quo. So yeah, it's definitely not Widow Jane, like bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry, but Widow Jane, like
the website,
I hope like years from now we're big enough where they actually watch a video and then they hire you to do their branding. Like, I would love that. It will up the whole Widow Jane experience by 1,000% because we love Widow Jane. Like their 10-year-old, it's so good. But
well, so here's the thing, right? The thing about a brand identity, it really should be cohesive against every single channel, right? Like, it should be very much cohesive. It should be a cohesive experience because it has to do two things, right? The brand, right? It has to get attention. You're going to get attention from somebody by the way that you present your product in a unique way and get that emotional connection. And then it also has to have retention through the promise that's delivered in the quality of the product. Like, if the whiskey's really delicious, if they have a good experience in the drink itself, people will think to themselves, wow, they present themselves really well and they taste good. Therefore, I might consider buying another bottle, right? Mm-hmm. There's attention and there's retention. And I think both of those are really important. So often, though, we only focus on one or the other. And I think traditionally, a lot of older companies, and this is being an older company, have fallen victim to the retention only. So they'll put a lot of effort into the quality of the product. The product will be really exceptional. It'll be really, really good. But I do think that in some ways they fall short on the front end of that and with the attention element of it. So a lot of times their visual identity or the way they're presenting things in that way can fall a little bit flat. And I'm not saying that, here's the thing about this Heaven Hill. I noticed from the packaging right away, it's very utilitarian feeling. Like, if you look at the whole thing, there's nothing wrong with being utilitarian, right? There's a lot of companies that do it. One might even argue, and this might be crazy, someone on this channel is going to be like, one could even argue like Tesla is utilitarian in a really kind of new tech way, right? Like, it is so simplified and so streamlined that it becomes perhaps harder to connect with emotionally. And I guess for that particular product in their vertical, it's a different kind of experience but if you look at Heaven Hill personally, I kind of feel like it's utilitarian in a way where it's saying everything that needs to be said, but it's not presenting it in an interesting way where I might get emotionally connected to it.
Right.
So in a sea of bottles where every bottle looks exactly the same, I would never notice this. And to be honest with you, when you picked this up off the shelf, the first thing I thought to myself was, I don't know if I want to try that one. It doesn't look that interesting. I had never heard of Heaven Hill, I know, sadly, but now that I have, I'm like, wow, the experience is really great where the attention fell flat. I think you're noticing that on the website too, like the attention to detail isn't there, so it's less cohesive.
Yeah.
And they have an amazing story to tell, but it's like, again, it's like you have a great story, great book, but it's not being presented on the right bookshelf. It's not easily read. Yeah.
I would agree with you that this does not stand out amongst...
No. Packaging is...
I knew to look for it, mostly because I had heard about it and I have a friend who really enjoyed it. And so when I saw it, I recognized, but I don't think I would have otherwise.
Like not noticeable.
Not noticeable, yeah. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't really pop or speak to you in any way.
I mean, it is like, I do like seeing their factory on there. That's kind of cool. But the thing that's interesting about that, like they have this the one thing I did notice, they have this etching on the front of their factory. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they could have carried that same treatment, the kind of history treatment to the way they're presenting that print, onto the website. And on the website, when you go on there, the first thing I noticed, it was a lot about their, what is the word? Environmental treatment of products and kind of like, which is great. It's really good. It's their brand is involved in kind of these sustainable practices.
Yeah, but the first page that popped up had nothing to do with whiskey.
Yeah, and so it left me, like when I first saw it and you showed it to me, I was like, is this an environmental site? I'm really confused by what I'm looking at here. And so it didn't present it in a way where I was like, wow, I really want to buy this whiskey.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I totally agree, 100%. I will say for 100 proof, which is not, the highest proof ever, a good, middle of the range. This is very smooth. To me, I don't know. Are you getting?
Oh no, it's delicious.
Like I would.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the more smoother whiskeys that we've had in a while.
Yeah.
Like it does not drink like 100 proof. I don't think.
No.
Honestly, like if you're a little bit nervous about getting something that's high proof and you can find this, and I think the price point is like, we'll put it up on the screen, but I want to say it was around $50.
It's not bad at all. It's entry level.
This is entry level price, but for 100 proof, it's a very smooth drink.
It's really smooth, but it has the warming.
It does.
Kind of tail on it that a higher proof whiskey has.
100%. Like right here, you can feel it, but like everything on the mouth is very, very smooth. Very creamy almost.
Yeah. The color, by the way, one thing I do appreciate, we look at a ton of different whiskeys in here, and for the most part, you guys at home, like if you're sitting in front of a bottle, you're going to be able to easily tell, but in this room, it is hard to see the different colors, but one thing I can see in here easily, the color of this particular whiskey is just absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
like it's almost like this beautiful amber color.
Yeah, it is a very, very nice looking. I don't know, man. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Would you say it's heavenly?
This is.
I thought about like before the show. So
how many puns? List them out.
How many ways can we like use heaven or heavenly or? I just gonna throw in the one, but I think it's really good. I'm gonna jump into my score. I don't know if I get. Vanilla for sure. That seemed to come across right away.
And the caramel at the end.
Caramel.
You do definitely get the caramel.
I don't get a lot of oak. I think it said like a hint of oak, but
those first two I definitely get a lot of.
Yeah. So, oh man, now I'm kind of going back. what I was thinking.
He's in heaven right now.
I hate our half score rule. We need to.
We need half scores?
We may need to revisit that. Okay.
Oh, man.
I am going to...
It's because we believe in all or nothing.
I know, it's true. Okay. This one caught me by surprise. I will be honest. I did not expect it to be as smooth it is, as creamy, as just very drinkable, especially for the proof. I would say this is extremely dangerous. Like, you could drink this
a
lot quicker than you should. And
it's almost like you could sit and drink a glass of wine and just knock it back.
This is so okay. So I am going to give it a 4. Yeah, I really enjoyed this actually. I'm gonna give it a 4. I would drink it neat, and it could be a daily drinker for me.
Do you hear that, Heaven Hill? He relinquished his 4.
I don't. Your website's a 2. Your packaging is a 2.
But what's in there?
What you put in the bottle is very, very good.
Well, as they say, you can't read the label from inside the jar, so
that's true. So I mean, I wish the bottling and the branding stood out more so people would take notice. But maybe you got to know what you're looking for. I guess I don't know. Maybe
it's like a hidden
gem,
secret.
Hidden gem. So I'm gonna give a 4 daily drinker, and I would drink it neat. So there you go. You tell me if I'm off on that. I was gonna go 3.5, but
3.5 stars.
We don't do halves.
No.
So. All right, hit me, Dave. What do you got?
Yeah, no, it is really, really, really good. I think you could easily drink this daily because of how easy drinking it is. Should you drink it daily? You tell us.
That's always the question.
You tell us. But it is very, very good. It's definitely worth the hunt, and it seems like from what you're saying, it's not even really super tedious to find it.
I don't know. I think around here the actual Heaven Hill is a little bit harder to find. I don't think we get this regularly in Oregon.
Okay. Because we don't get anything here regularly.
No, yeah, exactly. I think you can go down to California and get it, no problem. But I've only seen it a handful of times on the shelf. So
okay. Well, I am going to give this. I think I'm going to go 3.
Okay.
I think I would go with this 3, neat, and I'll give it a daily drinker. Do 3 neat daily drinker.
The question is, could you drink it daily?
Could I drink it daily? Yes.
Okay.
There's so many other great whiskeys out there, though, so it's like, how am I going to sit and drink this one every day? That's the issue with the daily drinker.
If this was the only bottle that you had,
yes,
you could drink it daily.
The other thing I will say about it too, though, is it would work really well. You could make like a really nice Manhattan with this.
Oh, 100%.
This would go really well. I'm really digging lately these Italian stallions. You do the sweet vermouth and Campari and some bourbon in there. It's just like it's a bitter.
Do you need a higher proof?
I do, and
typically,
you and I have talked about this. I think you mentioned it. Like so often, people make horrible mixed drinks because they use a low proof,
right?
And then
you lose all the bourbon.
It completely loses the taste. So if you use a higher proof bourbon, even if it's not like your favorite bourbon in the world, not a neat drinking bourbon, even if it's high proof, it could perform really well in a mixed drink.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
All right.
No, it's delish.
Oh, there we go.
It's delish.
Let's figure out how to make the branding match what's in the bottle. I think that's the. That's the.
But I would say
story.
Well, I would say the branding, as far as like the brand itself, is awesome. It's got a great story. Like, the story it really is king. It's everything. But the way they're presenting it, I think they could tool it up a little bit. I think it's the packaging and the website. I don't know how else they're activating it in the world and what else I would be looking at, but those two elements.
So normally we want these tastings to be really short, but I want to ask Dave a quick question. Okay, so would you say that where would the marketing are you saying there's a marketing problem here, or is it
no
branding problem, or where we don't have let's say the whiskey is an 8 out of 10 and the branding is a 2 out of 10 and the website, and then the bottle is a 4. Are we trying to get everything to an 8? Is that the job of is that a job of like a professional, like a person in you're trying to get everything to match? So let's say it's not an 8, but let's say where you're saying you don't want it to be out of sync, right? You don't want the website
I think
to
there should be cohesiveness.
Shoddy, and right, you want it to be cohesive. Does that touch the marketing part of it, or is that all branding?
It's so funny, people like those segments that people built. That's a whole other conversation, guys. But it's so often when I hear from people is, if you do branding, you do part of marketing. And I think that's a huge misnomer, because in reality, your brand is everything. It's your entire business. And so marketing is just a subset of this company, but your brand is really, it touches everything. It touches everything from the way that your employees talk about the business. It touches from the story that they're telling in the world, the way that the CEO addresses the company, the way the products appear. Every single element, every single thing that is in line with that experience that tells that story, that's the brand. And so it's I like to think of it like it's like a promise, right? Like, and if the promise doesn't align with what you say and what you do, there's a misalignment. And so brands have to work really hard at being able to create that cohesive promise. And so if the packaging, for instance, doesn't align with the website, doesn't align with the way you experience the drink after you have it, then there's a disconnect, right? There's not an alignment, and that's a huge problem. That's like a broken promise to someone. So is it a marketing issue? Marketing's about the channel. Like, what channel are you putting it in? Is it on Facebook? Is it digital? Is it presented in a real world solution? I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge you a little bit here. So if you put on, this is not your normal wheelhouse, but let's say you put on a marketing hat and
Sure.
you see this. Are you having a conversation with Heaven Hill and saying, hey, I need to talk to whoever your branding guy is, because this is going to be difficult to market, right? Like, because the marketing part of it, in my mind, is can you find it on the shelf?
Right. It's like
Right,
raising your hand. It's like raising your hand,
And
right?
so if I'm the marketing, or you're the marketing guy, are you wanting to have a conversation before you try to do your best to get this in front of eyeballs and people buying it? Are you going to want to have a conversation and say, hey, this is very bland, very we need to do something about this? Would you as a marketing person, do marketing people engage with branding?
If I were a marketer and I purely spoke that language, I would have to believe.
Or do you even care?
No, I would have to believe in the story that's being told. So right, like when we produce a brand for somebody, you have a book, right? It's almost like, and I'm using that as a proverbial idea, right? Like I present you a book. This is your brand. This is who you are. This is your identity. In so many ways, and I think the best brands, the best performing brands, are marketed in such a way where it's not about keeping rules, it's about living within boundaries and understanding what those boundaries are, how far you can push. It's like, you remember Jurassic Park? You keep the T-Rex in the 10,000 volt fence, right, and everybody lives. If the T-Rex gets outside of the 10,000 volt fence, everybody dies, or people are very scared. So I think a good marketer would say, cool, you understand your story, you understand how to present it, and in a way that people will get excited about it. Now it's up to me to help amplify that and get it out there into the world. Okay. And so it makes it tremendously difficult to do that if there's lack of consistency within the brand. If that engine is broken, you can put all the gasoline in it you want, it's not going to turn over. and that will cause a problem for a marketer. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I'm always just curious, how the branding and the marketing kind of gel, right? Because it's like in your mind, and maybe in the mind of the owner, the branding's great, but then the marketer comes in and says, I don't know how to market this. And I don't know if that's a problem on the marketing side or if there's a problem on the branding side. Like in this case, they may be ecstatic about the branding, but a marketer is going to be like, this looks like every other bottle that's
They should be
out there.
working together. They really should be. There should be a partnership there where one understands you've built something exceptional, and they're like, great, that's awesome. Like, we want to make sure that what you put into this, where you put it on the shelves, how you present it in the world, as far as the channels you choose, makes sense with the brand that we are.
Yeah,
that's huge, and I think that it's not this mutually exclusive, like people working in vacuums, and
right.
I think it's many people with awesome skill sets coming together to do exceptional things.
Well, and we've talked about this too. I think branding and marketing get they're synonyms in a lot of people's mind, right?
But it's not.
They're
not at all.
Completely different skill sets, completely different ways of looking at the company and what they're trying to do, but I think when people hear branding, they think marketing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's kind of the part that I was curious about. Is like, if there's a great brand or a great product, but the marketer is like, I don't know how to make this stand out. I don't know how to actually. We're saying here that this is for me it's a 4 out of 5 in the bottle, but it's a 2 on the outside of the bottle. So from a marketing standpoint or a branding standpoint, I'm always curious, like that conversation behind the scenes, like, hey, you got an amazing product, but we got to amplify the visibility some way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just...
Yeah, they want attention. We want to get as much attention on it as possible.
Right. But without losing the story.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think I want to be really careful. While I personally felt like I have a skill set, with our business, we do one specific thing, we develop brands. But I also want to be very, very careful not to create all these partitions, because at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing. No matter what line of work you're into, you all want the same thing. No matter what you're selling, no matter what you're offering someone, really what you want to do is you want to give someone else value. You want to help them. So when we're working with marketers, when you're helping a business, you all want the same thing. You just want to help the company grow.
Yeah.
And you want to give them their best shot at success, and you want to give them something really exceptional that people can be proud of and talk about, like we're talking about tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, I detoured there. Sorry about that.
Totally detoured. That's okay. That's okay.
I don't know. Sometimes things just pop into my mind. But anyway, we both gave it our score. I think we both really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4. Dave gave it a 3, but I think in its heart it was good 4. But
I want to give it a 3.5.
3.5. In my opinion, what's in the bottle supersedes what the presentation is here.
I don't know. Maybe if you pour me more, maybe it could turn into a 4. I don't know.
Maybe. Okay, off camera. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next.